My name is Cam Anderson. I'm the owner and sole employee of Blacktail Studio, a small one-man woodworking shop that's kind of turned into a woodworking shop and social media channel, YouTube channel. I'm always trying to learn. I'm trying to get better at woodworking, and when I learn something, I try to share it with others. You know, tools and tool brands are different for everybody. I tell people when you're gonna make that big tool investment, if you're saying, hey, I wanna buy one of the premium, like really premium, like when you start moving above things you can find at Home Depot, I tell people to work backwards from the end of the project to the start, because you can build the same table with a cheap circular saw as you can a $1,000 circular saw, but you can't get the same finish with a cheap orbital sander as you can the really nice orbital sander. So I tell people start at the last thing to touch your project and then kind of work backwards from there. So an orbital isn't the sexiest tool to buy. It seems like you'll want the track saw and some of those domino joiners, but I think it's a little bit more important to buy that first and then add those other tools later. For me, everything starts around the table saw because it's also, you know, a workbench, and you can build just a, you know, endless amount of jigs for your table saw. So I have a saw stop. I have about the most expensive one you can get, I think, which I don't think everybody needs the ICS, the industrial cabinet saw that I have. I had the PCS, the kind of step down from there before, and I think that would be perfectly acceptable for even professional shops. So I really like the saw stop cabinet saw. So that's kind of where I start. I think a bandsaw has, you know, been a really fun tool. The planer is really nice. That was when I bought my first planer. That was that kind of step of like, oh, now I can actually build some decent projects and some quality, you know, glued up real woodworking projects, because you can do a lot with a jointer and a planer, or even just a planer. I've got the simplest solution for all that. You should get a wife that's really good at business.
And is that what you have?
That's what I have. Very good. No, I'm not great at all those traditional business things. My wife has bought me like apps trying to get me to track my hours, and I never use them. And you know, she wants me to know exactly down to the penny of what a project costs me, you know, when it comes down to how many ounces of finish I use, and I don't do any of that. So I'm not the best person to ask about that. When we bought our house, we had to get all our finances in order for the loan, and my wife got into my books and was like, oh, we're buying you a bookkeeper. And so I try to defer as much of that as I can onto other people, because I am not great on the tracking of expenses and the cost of goods sold and all of that. So now I have a bookkeeper, but it's all important. I just am not very good at it. You know, that's another thing that I am not the best at. I know a lot of companies that will have a price per square foot of a table, and they can multiply a, you know, table up to 6 feet is this much per square feet. From 6 to 8 feet, it's this much, and you know, 12 feet, it's this much. I don't. I have a little different model on my pricing, and it started from when I first started doing this, because I've always been a one-man shop, and it's all I do is I charge as much as I can, where I won't be disappointed if the client says no. And you might need me to explain that a little bit more. But when, you know, if I was backed up for 6 months, or say, you know, 6 or 8 months backed up, and another order came in and it was something I didn't really want to build, I'd just say, you know, I don't care if I get that or not, I still have all these orders to do. Maybe I'll charge a little bit more this time. Conversely, if there's a new project, or maybe I'm almost caught up with all my orders, then I would say, oh, that's a really cool project, I really want to do that. I'm going to give them as aggressive of a price as I can, because I'd love it for my portfolio. I think it'd be fun to build. I think it'll make a great YouTube video, any of those. And if they say no, I couldn't really do it for any less anyway. It's actually really enabled me to scale, whereas I get a lot of money for my tables now, and I would have never had the guts to do that if I was doing a set pricing model. Is I was able to just raise it a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more, and it's been great for me. It might not apply to everybody, but that's just how I do it.